Listen to this podcast now
on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Leadership Thread with Dr. Peggy Polonis.
I'm Dr. Peggy Polonis. Join me on each episode where I unravel the story that shaped leaders, tracing the thread that led them where they are today. Because leadership isn't born in adulthood. Moving in the same direction and doing it united, then the movement forward is always so much more powerful.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.
You don't technically need this car. You say that out loud to yourself. You say, I have no space. You say, I'm just looking. Then you click. Then you zoom in on photo number 87 and whisper, oh no. Then you text a friend, the one who always enables you. You say to yourself, this is the last one, knowing it is not. You don't need this car. But maybe, just maybe, this car needs you. Bring a trailer. It's never just a car.
The Rita Cosby Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, boy, oh boy, many Democrats tonight are saying that it's a war crime, the taking out of drug leaders who are on a drug boat off the coast of Venezuela headed to deliver drugs to the United States. The White House says there was a second strike on a boat, and many legal experts say you're allowed to hit a boat more than once if you have deemed that that group is a terrorist organization and they're bringing drugs to the United States. That's exactly what was happening. We'll find out more details. But the Democrats seem much more concerned about drug cartel workers and leaders than they do about American citizens. They really haven't raised a lot of holy heck about fentanyl and all the problems happening in our country, and yet they seem to be worried about the rights of drug kingpins. And they seem to be worried about the rights of illegal migrants, many of them with some very severe criminal records. And so tonight we're going to talk about a lot of this. It's like Alice in Wonderland. It's like the world is turned upside down. And now Democrats are accusing the Trump administration of war crimes when they found out that there was a second strike on a drug boat. So they're worried about Chapo's rights, but they're not worried about American citizens' rights because I guess it's okay to have drugs flooding into the United States, as opposed to saying, thank you, President Trump. That's really great what you're doing. No, they're going after now the drug lords and others and essentially saying they have rights too. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. And we'll take your calls about that tonight. Also, ICE had their hands full this weekend in New York City. They were blocking the exit of an ICE facility. This was actually quite extraordinary. They were not even able to carry out some of their warrants because suddenly all these protesters, all these, I'm sure, paid protesters, my opinion, a lot of them are all paid, show up and they're blocking the garage. So they weren't even able to get out of their facility. This is quite incredible. And then we saw Democratic leaders the next day coming out, guys. And what were they doing? They were saying, bravo, you guys did a great job. You blocked ICE from rounding up the criminals. Again, it is Alice in Wonderland. So we're going to take your calls tonight here on The Rita Cosby Show. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Meantime, everybody's still talking about the case, of course, of this Afghan national who got into the United States under Joe Biden. There's some good news tonight, if there's anything in this, but there is some good news, and I'm happy to report that Andrew Wolf is now responding to nurses. And that is, of course, the 2nd National Guard troop. We know that Sarah Beckstrom, that she died from her injuries. What a heartbreaking situation when that news came out. And now the good news that the 2nd National Guard troop, Andrew Wolf, who's in still very critical condition in a hospital, is responding to the medical staff. And he was asked, hey, can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up is what the nurses were asking. And he gave a thumbs up. And then they said, could you wiggle your toes if you feel something? And he started wiggling his toes. So these are small actions, but these are very big actions. And hopefully this is a sign of a miracle to come. And let's pray that he makes a very full or significant recovery. We could use some good news with this story, that is for sure. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Meantime, we are learning more details about the shooter, this 29-year-old Afghan national. How did he get into this country? We know he came through under the Biden Operations Allies Welcome program, that parole program. But now we're hearing that there were reports even recently that some caseworkers who were involved in his case, apparently there were emails sent to them and saying, this guy doesn't get out of his room for weeks. He seems like he's kind of going crazy. He seems like he's depressed. Seems like he's losing it. He would apparently sit in the darkness in his own apartment with his wife and kids and not talk to anybody for weeks and sort of sit in the room. A lot of people are saying he had no job. Remember also his brother was also part of this sort of paramilitary unit in Afghanistan, and the brother's in the United States. I haven't heard anything about the brother. I want to know, what's the brother going on, or what did he know? Did he know anything beforehand? We certainly need to get the answer to that. And who else knew something? He took off suddenly for 5 days, wasn't seen for 2 weeks, then takes off for 5 days and drives across the country. You don't just kind of do it and not tell anybody. So did his family know something? There's something really fishy here. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. And the big question is, how many more are here that wish to do us harm like this guy, like this monster? And meanwhile, Democrats are saying, oh, that's not nice. That's racist of President Trump to put a pause on asylum claims from 19 certain countries. Here is Kristi Noem, what she had to say over the weekend about where she thinks this madman went crazy.
Madam Secretary, do you know what the motive was at this point? Do you believe the suspect acted alone?
You know, we're still going through all of that information, and I'll let the FBI and DOJ reveal new information. But I will say we believe he was radicalized since he's been here in this country. We do believe it was through connections in his home community and state, and we're going to continue to talk to those who interacted with him, who were his family members, talk to them. So far, we've had some participation, but anyone who has information on this needs to know that we will be coming after you and we will bring you to justice. We absolutely will persecute you because we do know that we will never allow this to continue to happen in our country, allow individuals who came to our country that were unvetted by Joe Biden, allowed to run free and loose. We are going to bring them to justice and make sure that they're returned out of this country if they aren't here for the purposes of being an American.
So he got radicalized in this country. So we need to find out, how did he get radicalized in this country? Did he get radicalized online? Was it people in the community, as she suggested may be the case? So who are these people in the community that are radicalizing him? And are they radicalizing a whole bunch more? And what are we going to do about it? What can we do to de-radicalize them? What can we do to make sure that they are punished if they inspired this guy to commit a crime? Aren't they accomplices? There's a lot of questions tonight on that. So here is Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary. She talked about earlier today, and this is interesting because she brought up the fact that this is not the first Afghan national that is responsible for some pretty heinous crimes in this country, even in just the last few years. She walks us through some other cases.
And unfortunately, this is not the only example of a dangerous Afghan who was let in by Joe Biden, who went on to harm the American people. There was an Afghan national who was let into the country under the Biden administration through Operation Allies Welcome, who shot and wounded 2 Fairfax, Virginia police officers during a routine traffic stop. He was killed by return fire after declaring, quote, "I should have served with the explicitive Taliban." 2 Afghan nationals were given legal status by the Biden administration as well, who were arrested and prosecuted for plotting a terrorist attack. in Oklahoma just before Election Day in 2024. We all remember that. They possessed hundreds of rounds of ammunition and had pledged their allegiance to ISIS. There was also an Afghan national who was on the terror watch list who was apprehended by Border Patrol in 2024, but then he was released into our country by the Biden administration. Again, let's just highlight the absurdity of that. Border Patrol apprehended a terrorist, and then the Biden administration, because of their lax policies, still allowed him to come into the United States of America. I think everyone in this room, whether you want to admit it or not, does not want that individual living alongside you in your American neighborhood. And that individual was later arrested again after being allowed to live in the U.S. at large for over a year. Another one, a criminal illegal alien from Afghanistan, was arrested by ICE in 2025, convicted of second-degree assault, was previously allowed to stay in the country by the Biden administration. I have several more examples here. I'm happy to provide them to anyone in this room.
I mean, that's a pretty big list, guys. So this is not the first one. And yet these people are saying, oh, this is so terrible that you are suddenly saying, let's put a pause on asylum seekers from certain countries. I would think there'd have to be a big red flag, not just from Afghanistan, but from countries like Venezuela. And of course, we know what's happening there. The U.S. has shut down airspace around Venezuela, above Venezuela. They're surrounded by USS aircraft carriers around Venezuela. Trump talked to Maduro, who was trying to cut some sort of deal. Trump said, no deal, get out. So there's a lot of, can you imagine who might be trying to flee Venezuela and trying to sneak into our country now? What about Iran? You think they all wish us well? Well, it's really powerful to see all of these different examples. And then yet the Democrats are playing the race card yet again. I can't believe this. Jasmine Crockett, the gift that keeps on giving, they're from Texas. She came out and said, we shouldn't be talking about Afghans. Yep, she said we should be talking about white supremacists. Listen to this.
In Trump's America, this is exactly what he wants. And the idea that one person can get out of line and commit such a horrific crime as shooting two National Guardsmen that never, ever asked to be here. In fact, we know the young lady that lost her life, specifically, we're saying that this is a waste of time. But now you want to go against every single immigrant. That doesn't make sense. And it's frankly not who we are, because if that's the case, let's talk about the white supremacists and how many of them need to be kicked out of this country, because I can guarantee you I can track down more crimes that they've committed, because overall immigrants have a lower crime committal rate than white supremacists. But we don't want to talk about that in this country.
I mean, the FBI has for years said that homegrown terrorism is a much bigger issue than anything from any other country.
We'll have to check her numbers, that's for sure. This is the one who said that Jeffrey Epstein, remember, donated to Lee Zeldin. It turned out it was a Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, not the Jeffrey Epstein. So I'm a little leery of any facts coming from her. But she's not alone and sort of playing this race card now against the Trump administration. They're racist, even after this horrible attack. Why would you ever want to clamp down on security? I mean, these people just clearly want open borders, want, criminals to attack again and again, and nothing we should complain about and nothing we should worry about. And of course, we're hearing from Senator Mark Kelly. He's part of that Seditious Six video. Remember that huge video that came out last week where he called on military members and said, you know what, you should disobey orders and we're going to have your back. Stand down and we'll stand by. That whole thing. And now I find it no coincidence that they're going after this second strike on this drug boat, saying, well, maybe that shouldn't have happened. In other words, the military shouldn't have carried out that order. So there's a lot of questions on that. But Mark Kelly also has a problem with the pause from asylum seekers from these 19 countries, saying, why are you targeting these nice, wonderful, sweet people from Afghanistan? And what about Sudan, too? What about Iran? What about Cuba, Venezuela? Well, it's not like they're just randomly picking these places. But Mark Kelly says it's all racist.
When I heard the secretary say that they're going to pause immigration from third world countries, I mean, I take that as a message that they don't want brown people coming to the United States. And I find that disturbing. We are a country that has always welcomed individuals that are struggling, that are fleeing famine and violence. And it would be a fundamental change to the fabric of our nation to change that.
That to me is such a disgraceful comment, guys. Senator Mark Kelly, Democrat of Arizona, saying that they just don't want brown people coming to the United States, trashing the Trump administration, saying that he finds that disturbing, that it's racist as opposed to a security issue. These people are so out of touch. We're going to take your calls when we come back here on The Rita Cosby Show. The number's 1-800-848-9222.
The Rita Cosby Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Looking for financial insights you can trust?
How do you protect yourself as an investor? What's the strategy?
I think it's really simple. I think you just want to be diversified in your portfolio.
The Payne family brings real-world experience to every conversation.
Well, I think that's the problem right now is, right, a lot of people that are close to retirement, they're taking so much risks. And if we do get a big sell-off, it could derail their retirement.
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly here. Donate now to toysfortots.org, working year-round delivering hope to children at Christmas time and beyond. In 2024, Toys for Tots provided over 30 million toys to nearly 13 million children in need. Donate now, please. Go to toysfortots.org. Since 1947, Toys for Tots has distributed 708 million toys to 314 million deserving children. Working year-round, Toys for Tots. Donate now. Go to toysfortots.org. That's toysfortots.org.
REI Co-op presents a perfect outdoor moment with the perfect gift. Picture this. You're ripping with your favorite person. Bluebird skies, blower powder, and frankly, you're skiing like legends.
So sick. Another lap?
Thanks to REI's curation, from lid to sticks, you nailed the gift.
No way. How'd you know?
Does it get more perfect than that? Give without guessing. Shop in store or visit rei.com.
It's 7v7 soccer. Smaller the pitch, faster the action. The world's elite soccer clubs compete for their share of a massive $5 million prize. Catch World Sevens on TNT, True TV, and HBO Max December 5th through the 7th.
It's the Rita Cosby Show.
And by the way, Zoran Mondani was out with Starbucks workers today who were out on the picket line. He and Bernie Sanders joined the Starbucks workers. It was interesting to see him out there speaking. The workers want better wages. They're upset about the hours. There's a whole bunch of different things. But what it also told me is that Zoran Mondani is probably going to be out there on the protest line time and time again. I have a feeling this Starbucks issue isn't a one-off. It's like some of the other protests. Remember, he joined the pro-Palestinian protests. Is he going to be a part of those, too, when he becomes mayor? He very well may. It certainly sounds like he's not going to stop them, and that's a big problem, too. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Robert in Brooklyn, line 1. Go ahead, Robert. Go ahead, Robert. Go ahead, Robert. I can't hear you, so we'll try to figure it out. Let's go to another line real quick. We may be having some issues. Let's go to Larry on line 5, if we could, from Brooklyn. Go ahead, Larry. Larry, go ahead.
Hi. Yeah, okay, listen, Rita, first of all, this is Zoran Mondani. Wherever trouble is brewing, you can bet he's there. Picket lines, protests are trouble. Starbucks is a corporation that gives thousands and thousands of people jobs, and the owner happens to be Jewish. So that could be a reason why he doesn't like Starbucks.
By the way, I wondered that too, Larry. I wondered that too.
But what I really what my call was really about is there was an all-out attack on Western European culture, which is our culture. This is the culture we inherited. Now, I don't know how I can get this message to the White House or even to you, because you probably take taxis and limousines, and Trump probably doesn't take public transit. I'm sure he doesn't take it. He doesn't know either.
Larry, hold on. What I'm going to do, you hold on, because we put the music up a little bit here, and we're going to a hard break. So do me a favor, stick with us. I'll continue with us. If you can hold on, I'll definitely want to hear what you have to say. You always have interesting stuff. We'll be right back, guys.
The Rita Cosby Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. Jay Kelly, the new film from Academy Award nominee Noah Baumbach. George Clooney stars as an actor confronting his past and present on a journey of self-discovery, alongside Adam Sandler as his devoted manager. Critics are calling it a declaration of love to the chaotic art of filmmaking, with the Wall Street Journal praising it as a transcendent comedy drama. Watch Jay Kelly December 5th, only on Netflix.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Carvana lets you buy your next car on your terms. Explore a massive inventory online, filter for what matters, and find your perfect match. Then choose delivery to your home or pick it up at one of Carvana's iconic car vending machines. Every car also comes with a 7-day money-back guarantee, so you can make sure it's the right fit. Buy your car on Carvana. Delivery or pickup fees may apply. Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.
Carvana. At IKEA, your dreams can come true. Well, maybe not the ones where you're being chased by a monster. We're talking about kitchen dreams. And there are IKEA products and solutions for all of them. Whether it's a whole new kitchen, a statement glassware set, or just new cutlery. If you got big dreams or small dreams in any size or budget, IKEA can help you bring them to life. Visit IKEA.us/dreamkitchen to learn more. Dream the possibilities.
Say hello to the all-new Alexa Plus and see how Alexa can do so much more for you. Need tickets to see your favorite artist? Craving your comfort restaurant? Just sit back, relax, and talk naturally. Alexa's on it. It learns your style, anticipates what's next, and makes it happen across Echo, Fire TV, and more. Learn more at Amazon.com/new Alexa.
Rita Cosby is on. The Rita Cosby Show presents Back the Blue.
And this Back the Blue segment coming from Cleveland, Ohio, where officers on a patrol boat saved a life by rescuing a man who's drowning in Lake Erie. Now, the officers on the boat just happened to be passing by when they spotted a 45-year-old man in the water struggling. It was about 35 feet from the rocks. And one of the officers, after they saved him, said, "Did you see our boat when you were on the rocks?" The man said, "No, I was in the water." So the EMS medic said, "Do you slip? Did you fall? How long were you in there?" And the man said, "I don't know." One of the EMS crew workers said he was in the water. He said he is blind and slipped and fell. In fact, the man told police he definitely has impaired vision. Now, when they brought him back ashore, he was thankful to be alive and thankful that the officers just happened to be passing by. One of the other officers on shore said, "You guys are heroes," when they showed up, saying to the police boat team, "Great job, you saved a life." And of course, bravo to our great men and women in blue. And tonight we are talking about that and so much more. Let's go back to Larry here on the Rita Cosby Show. Larry on line 5. Go ahead, Larry, your thoughts tonight.
Okay, so I was trying to say I'm a little hoarse. There is an all-out assault on Western civilization, on the Western European culture, which we inherited from England. And that culture is basically puts the emphasis on individual freedom, and it stresses courtesy and consideration for others. There was an all-out assault on that, and in place, they're trying to substitute the mentality that goes along with third world countries and totalitarian societies. For example, people are blaring their cell phones on speaker now routinely on the buses. And it's not only on buses. In a doctor's office today, a woman comes in and she gets a call and it's blaring on her cell phone. I had to yell at her. This woman was not brown or black skin, and she was not white and Western European. She was from Eastern Europe, okay, where there's totalitarianism. Basically, they're trying to nullify individual freedoms, the freedom to have quietude and solicitude and to respect other people. That's part of a free society. They're trying to get rid of it. And the bad part, the worst thing is, our institutions are being compliant with that. The MTA, which has signs all over the place, they receive billions from the federal government. They have signs all over the buses, no loud audio.
And Larry, guess what? You know it's going to get a lot worse the minute the minute it becomes free buses. What Zoran Mondani wants, they're not only going to be on the phone, they're going to be sleeping on the buses because it's going to be a lot harder to kick people off. But I hear what you're saying. I hate that. I hate it. I hate it when people are on a bus or if they're on a plane and the plane is like sitting there on the runway and you're thinking, okay, good, maybe I can finally sleep before takeoff. And they're on the phone and they're yapping loudly or saying even private things. You're like, oh, my gosh. I agree, Larry. So let me just ask you a question. Do you think that is just like one sort of part of the breakdown of society? Obviously, we're talking about some other stuff that's even more serious tonight.
Well, like I said, the MTA is in goose step with Mondani, not lockstep, goose step. Okay, they are in goose step with him. They're playing along because they want to survive. These institutions, they become fascist overnight. Because they have to survive. And that's what really this is. Fascism, you want to call it fascism, but totalitarianism. It's all about government control, and they want to call Trump the fascist. Is it going to get worse? You better believe it's going to get worse. This is, as Dominic Carter said, and I have to quote him because he was right on the money, it's the calm before the storm right now. Okay? It's inevitable it's going to get worse. And the only question is how quickly is Trump at 80 years old going to react to this? That's the question.
Well, I think the storm is going to be something really, really serious. And that's what I'm worried about. And I agree with Dominic on that, that I just think we are headed to a really dangerous period. And I think the one thing we can't forget about, Larry, and I'm talking on a much bigger, broader scale, I'm talking about protests, I'm talking about anything Trump does, it's a violation of war powers, it's a violation of this, it's that. They're really going to go full throttle because this next year is the midterms. This is really the last time you can kind of do a referendum, if you will, on Trump for the Democrats who hate his guts. And they would love nothing more than to at least get back, if they could get back the House, if they could get the House and the Senate. God help us, because if they get back the House, they will impeach him. If they get back the Senate, they will remove him. They'll try to remove him. There is no doubt in my mind they will do whatever they can. They just hate Trump that much. And anything he does, even if it's an incredibly noble thing like taking out drug traffickers and trying to remove criminals and murderers and everybody else from the streets, they'll still go after him. And I think when you have people like a Mondani in power, you got this woman, Katie Wilson. She is there, of course, in Seattle. You've got some other characters like that across the country. Then you have DAs like Alvin Bragg in New York and Larry Krasner in Philly. You put all of that together and you've got soft on crime judges. That's a really dangerous scenario. And I think this year, especially again, because it's midterms, and then you got, even in New York, for example, you're there in Brooklyn. In New York, Larry, you've got Kathy Hochul, who is running for re-election. And that dance between her and Mondani is going to be an interesting one, too, because she endorsed him. She's not going to want to alienate his voters, but he's going to be doing, I'm sure, some crazy things. He's also going to, the other day with the synagogue, with the Jewish synagogue, Larry, he criticized the Jewish synagogue, the worshipers, saying they shouldn't have been in there worshiping when everybody was so worried about the protesters outside. That says volumes to me. And he's going to tell, I believe, the police to stand down during protests. It's going to get really ugly. And I don't think it's where I change the word storm, it's the calm before the tsunami, because I think this year is going to be a tsunami. And brace yourselves, guys, for everything, because it's going to be a wild one. Larry, great point. So good to hear from you. Let's go to Robert in Brooklyn, who is on line one. Go ahead, Robert. Your thoughts tonight.
Hi, Rita. Thanks for taking my call. Could you hear me?
Yep, I hear you. Great. Go ahead.
Okay. So, President Trump, he apparently on his social media, he just posted Amy Mack, who made a posting about the Somali state of Minnesota. And Minnesota is being systematically transformed, and she goes on. And President Trump reposted it, and he says, "Welcome to Minnesota. Great job, Governor Walz." Now, President Trump recently, with the horrific shooting that took place, the National Guards people, he mentioned the need to deport people who don't love this country. But he also mentioned that a law was recently passed that makes it difficult to deport some people that need to be deported. Now, I want to be clear. In theory, we have a Republican president, Trump, one of the greatest ever, and in theory, we have a Republican Senate and a Republican House. These Republicans need to pass whatever law is necessary to save our country, whether it's cleaning up a place like Minnesota or getting rid of Mamdani. Okay, now in terms of Mamdani, the only post I noticed on his True Social, on his Mamdani on Twitter, he made a posting on November 28th. He said, "I'm devastated to learn of the passing of Specialist Sarah Beckstrom, a member of the West Virginia National Guard." And then he goes on and he says that, celebrating Thanksgiving, he goes on and says, "Let us take a moment to think of those in West Virginia who have been plunged in unimaginable grief." So he never condemned the attack. He was very, very vanilla is what he said. He's like, "I'm devastated to learn that you passed, and let's take a moment to think about the people who've been plunged into unimaginable grief." He doesn't even really say much about who it is. For all it could be, he could be talking about unimaginable grief in Gaza.
By the way, hold on, Robert. You got to take a breath. But I hear what you're saying. You know what? That's a great point, what you're just saying. He didn't say, "I condemn attacks on law enforcement. This should not happen." You're right. He didn't take a moral stance, because I think we know where he stands, right, Robert?
Correct. And Rita, you pulled the same shtick when you had in June, when you had that in Boulder, Colorado, when there was a group, Solidarity Walk for Israel, and they were set on fire. He said the same type of Mickey Mouse statement where he said, like, "Oh, we're sorry," or something. He never condemned it. And also, Rita, when you were just speaking about the demonstration that was unacceptable because they encroached on the property of the synagogue, the rabbi, the Holocaust survivor, and he's talking about, well, according to international law, they shouldn't be trying to facilitate immigration to Israel. International law, hello, this is the United States. No international law necessarily. We have the federal law, state law, and city law. There's no international law. This guy is like an insurrectionist. This guy's trying to overthrow our country. Now, if they don't have the laws to get Mamdani out of here, he needs to be deported, because how many people, God forbid, will die in law enforcement because of him? How many anti-Semitic attacks are going to take place? How many people in general are going to die because this Mamdani and others like him throughout the country are taking over our country? We still have a Republican House, a Republican Senate, a Republican president. I would prefer that they not do away with the filibuster, but to let them shut the government down. But they cannot allow someone like Mamdani to stay here. If the law cannot get this guy out of here, then they have to pass laws that could. We cannot allow this to happen. You have one person who was horrifically killed, and if the Republicans don't stop it, I really believe Republicans. Democrats, we know they're horrible, but the Republicans, they let Mamdani win in New York. They should have been mailing to every person his horrific screenshots of his tweets. They let him win. They let New York be a sacrificial lamb. And yet throughout the country now, you have these problems. And they think it's going to help them with the midterms. I'm not so sure, but they should be sacrificing cities throughout the United States. They need to pass laws so Trump can do what he needs to do. I don't want to hear President Trump saying, "Oh, well, it's too difficult to get some of these people out of here." Well, you control the Senate, you control the House, you control the presidency, and if necessary, this is ridiculous. They have to get these people out of here.
And by the way, I hear what you're saying, because they need to be tougher on those who are obstructing U.S. law. No matter who it is, whether it's somebody in power or someone else. And that's why it's an interesting point. Obviously, it's a lot more difficult when it's somebody who's elected, and he has not yet done that yet. He's said certain things that are very troubling, extremely troubling. He has some very troubling alliances. And the question is, let's see what he does once he's in power. The one thing that is going to be a problem is Kathy Hochul. And that's why I kept bringing this up. Kathy Hochul has endorsed him. So it's not like she is rushing to condemn him. She's going to be really careful because she's going to, quote, want those New York City votes, which are very important if you're running for governor. And if she doesn't rein him in, that's not going to help her. But if she does rein him in, that could also really hurt her big time with his voters. It's the right thing to do if he goes AWOL and does some crazy things. And he very well may. I mean, he's telegraphing he's going to. I think it's going to be really difficult. I said that to people. That's why I was raising the alarm during the election and telling people to get out in droves and beat this guy. But unfortunately, that's very difficult when you have a split ticket going up against him. And just, you know, he had a big machine behind him, too. So there are a lot of things that you can point to. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Joaquin in Pennsylvania on line 3. Go ahead, Joaquin.
Good evening, Rita. How you doing?
Good. But we're fired up tonight. I'm telling you, there's a lot of things to be concerned about.
Yes, we are. As a matter of fact, I agree with much of what Larry had said in the beginning, you know, and I want to reiterate and highlight on some of it. And I know, again, disclaimer time. Unfortunately, we have to face the fact, and I always get a little irritated whenever I hear them say that they're being radicalized or he was radicalized. It's not the case. They already are radicalized because it is in their belief system. That's what the problem is. And we have to wake up and we have to face the fact about this. And I got a little thing, little term, the Middle Eastern migration and asylum without assimilation equals the assassination of white Western civilization. And that's what we have going on. You know, and when you listen to people like Jasmine Crockett and others, what they basically want is the white Judeo-Christian man to sit down, shut up, and allow, you know, and submit and allow them to basically conquer us and to dominate us. And all you have to do is just take a look around the world right now. Look at Europe. Europe is basically fallen. It's basic, you know, it's pretty much lost. But luckily in this country, we still have time to do something. And this has got nothing to do with hating people or whatever. But, you know, until people really understand the ideologies that we're looking at, we have to basically say no. And unfortunately, we need someone next time around even stronger than Donald Trump to come in to take the mantle after him, because not just I would stop all the immigration from Middle Eastern countries, period. You know, and if you know, I realize that there are some Muslims down that don't follow that, but they're the minority. You know, all you have to see is what's going on in our cities here, how they're basically taking over and nobody's stopping them, you know, when they have their protests and they have their flags and they basically...
What about the no-go zones in like places like Paris, you know, like in France? I mean, can you imagine having a no-go zone and they're trying to create sort of similar things in some places of Texas? Luckily, Governor Abbott is like, that ain't going to happen. But Macron is a lot weaker than Governor Abbott. And he's allowing a lot of these things to continue. You know, one of the things that I worry about, Joaquin, and listen, I do believe that there are peaceful Muslims, but clearly people who've come from a hardened place like Afghanistan, they were hired fighters. That's all they know. And then they come to the United States. You know, it's easy for them to, quote, reconnect. It makes you wonder how many like him with that mindset are still in this country, even those who fought alongside us but are ready to turn on a dime. And many of the people who fought over there in Afghanistan, our U.S. troops, say that this happens a lot, sadly. But I worry what's going to happen under Mamdani. Will there be like just so many protests and he's going to say, keep on going, or he's going to be leading from the front? I mean, that's why I brought up the Starbucks one. The Starbucks one's a little different, obviously, but it is a Jewish owner. Let's not forget about that. And separately, he seems to be very comfortable in the protest from the front position, Joaquin, which makes me think he's going to maybe be a part of some of these other ones in the future.
I agree with you. And unfortunately, there's really, you know, I know what Robert's trying to say as far as, you know, of him being denaturalized and whatever. But unfortunately, those kinds of things are not going to happen. And we're probably going to wind up having to sit back and watch as he basically tries to destroy, New York City, Islamicize it, and unless people actually wake up and realize it, New York makes no sense to me. The population of New York, how they keep electing people like Mondami and others, the whole state, is just incredible what's going on there, and that they won't stop it. And unfortunately, luckily, we do have other states. So we got Ron DeSantis, and of course, you mentioned Governor Greg Abbott. And if I was him, I'd engage a marquee of Governor Hot Wheels and say, Governor Hot Wheels strikes again.
Yeah, and by the way, I think about that every time I think about Jasmine Crockett. I mean, she says the most absurd, ridiculous things. And I think her saying, let's not talk about Afghans, let's talk about white supremacists, that's probably in the same league. Joaquin, thank you very much. Always interesting. Everyone, we're going to continue your calls after the break.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Running a business comes with a lot of what-ifs. But luckily, there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku. And it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what-ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
This is the Rita Cosby Show.
And coming up, we're going to talk about Venezuela. We will also be talking more about these ICE protests. I cannot believe these activists blocking the garage as ICE was trying to carry out a warrant. How dare they? I say they all get arrested. And I think those who are encouraging them, I think they need to get tough and go after them too. Who's funding them too? Why have we not gone after those who are backing these agitators that are trying to disrupt law and order in America? It's shocking to me. Let's go to Reggie in Texas. He's on line one. Reggie, your thoughts tonight?
Well, first thing, that's ridiculous. We need to start cracking heads. People need to go to jail. My second point real quick is the Constitution gives the president the power to protect against aliens that he feels involve our threat to national security. So these yahoos who keep trying to stop him from enforcing that, it's an absolute joke. And I know Joaquin mentioned a Jasmine Crockett, I think you did. Man, that woman needs to be drug tested. Where is the white supremacy? Where's the crime involving white supremacy that she can point to? Where's the epidemic of whites committing crimes against other races? I'd like to see those statistics for her to go on like she's going on and distracting. It's like your house burning down and your neighbor keeps telling you that there's a car parked the wrong way on the other side of the street.
That's a great analogy, Reggie. You're right. It's just shocking. And they still won't address the real issue. I mean, her problem is, why are you stopping these wonderful, nice potential terrorists from coming into the U.S.? I think she thinks we should welcome them with open arms.
Thanks for listening to The Rita Cosby Show. You can hear The Rita Cosby Show weeknights at 10 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Looking for financial insights you can trust?
How do you protect yourself as an investor? What's the strategy?
I think it's really simple. I think you just want to be diversified in your portfolio.
The Payne family brings real-world experience to every conversation.
Well, I think that's the problem right now is, right, a lot of people that are close to retirement, they're taking so much risks. And if we do get a big sell-off, it could derail their retirement.
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. You know, one of the perks about having 4 kids that you know about is actually getting a direct line to the big man up north. Mm-hmm. And this year, he wants you to know the best gift that you can give someone is the gift of Mint Mobile's unlimited wireless for $15 a month. Now, you don't even need to wrap it. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.